Welcome back to Charms Diaries, a daily vlog where I talk about the process of me becoming a full-time content creator. I am still feeling a little bit ill, to be honest with you. I've got this cough that's lingering, but I've had a couple of cups of coffee and a good night's sleep, so I'm ready to go. Today I wanted to talk about some of the challenges that I have in terms of creating content, and not specifically actually creating content, but the types of content that I create. So if you scroll all the way back to the beginning of my TikTok feed, it's maybe a year or so old, you'll notice that the content is completely different. It's almost exclusively focused around art. So painting, drawing, coloring, all of that kind of stuff. And the reason that I started my TikTok profile originally was because I wanted to showcase my journey of producing art. And the reason I got back into painting and stuff again was because my job for many years was literally all digital. I hadn't created anything physical, anything that you could actually hold for a very long time, and I felt like that was a missing piece in my life. I think digital art, I think creating digital things is brilliant, but there's something about being able to physically hold something, to be able to actually create something in the real world that just feels different to me. And that's why I started painting again. And painting has a weird, painting and drawing have a kind of weird space for me because I simultaneously love it and find it massively frustrating. So there's always a point in the middle of any painting where I'm like, this is terrible and I hate it and I never want to paint again. Because in my head I can see exactly what I want to produce, but actually getting that onto paper or onto canvas is obviously a lot more of a difficult process and takes a lot of practice. You can see some of my art in the background in this video, and I'm still painting, and I still have this challenge of trying to create a piece of art for every video game that I play and give that away to my community. And I've given 2 or 3 away now, and I really love that process, but it is quite time intensive and can be quite frustrating depending on what I'm trying to produce. The pieces that I've finished I'm largely happy with, although some of them I found very difficult to go through. As you'll go through the TikTok profile, that you see that kind of progressed into more gaming content. And actually, if you look at some of the posts, it's not gaming, it's not art, it's music. Basically, my interests are so varied that I wanted to be able to do all of that stuff and still be able to produce content for all of it. So I'm in these kind of different mindsets at the moment of whether I should separate profiles out, whether I should have different YouTube channels, different TikTok channels, depending on the types of content that I want to produce. And I'm split on that decision, really. I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have in terms of actual viewership, and I don't know how much of extra time it's going to add to my process to be able to separate those profiles out. So my understanding is that platforms like TikTok and YouTube essentially try to learn the audience that you're trying to access, or the audience that engages with your content. And maybe that makes it a little bit more difficult if I'm producing quite varied content, like one piece is about gaming, one piece is about art, one piece is a vlog. You know, will it make it more difficult for a platform like YouTube or TikTok to figure out who my content gets presented to? But I don't want to give up any of those things. My aim is basically to create good shit. That's what I want to do. I want to create good things. I don't care whether that thing is a novel, whether it's a painting, whether it's a piece of music, whether it's a piece of comedy, whether it's playing a video game. It doesn't matter to me what it is. I used to call myself a Renaissance man because I just had all of these different interests, and for a long time I felt like I needed to choose one and just dedicate myself to that one thing. But I don't think that's the case anymore. I think I can have all of those things if I want it. I obviously need to dedicate a certain amount of time to get better at those things, but I wanna go through all of those creative avenues. I wanna experience all of those creative things. So I'm interested to hear what other people think, what other creators think. Do you need to separate those things out? Do you need to dedicate your channel to just one thing and really just drive down that one niche? My biggest concern would be that if I separate it out, it's almost another job again. Right, I've got a gaming channel, so I've got to produce content for that. If I separate out an art channel, I've then got to be producing consistent content for that. If I've got a music channel, then I've got to be producing consistent content for that. So far, what I've found is that my channel is fundamentally focused around streaming and gaming, But some of my successful posts have not been around those things specifically. They've been around either music, or they've been around comedy, or they've been around other things other than gaming. I've had successful gaming posts, but it's not all been around that. So I don't really know what the answer to that is. I think certainly for now, I'm just going to focus on the channels that I've got and make sure I've got consistency in those. But I'm not going to stop producing and putting out content for other types of content outside of gaming, because basically I want people to be interested in all of those things. I want people to buy into me essentially, rather than the thing that I'm doing. This is something that I've seen with other content creators, where they are not just focused on gaming, but hyper focused on a specific game. And this is something they've openly talked to me about, where they've said that that's challenging for them now as they try to move away from that game, or as that game falls out of favor. They're completely tied into just that one ecosystem. So moving away from that is far more difficult. They've got great followers, they've got great numbers of followers, they've got great numbers in terms of views and all of those things, but they almost feel trapped in playing those single games. And when I've talked to variety streamers, they've said the same thing. It's maybe more challenging to be a variety streamer and not just focus on a single game, but it opens up so many more opportunities in terms of partnerships with brands and partnerships with different games and that kind of thing, because they're not tied to any specific thing. Their audience is there for them, not for the game that they're playing. And that's why I'll never ever get tied down to a single game. There's always people asking me, when are you going to play Red Dead 2 again? When are you going to go back to this game? When are you going to replay that? And the answer is, it's unlikely that I will go back to these things. Red Dead 2 I played probably the most, and there's so much to see in that game that it's definitely one that you can go back to over and over again. But certainly after doing the 24-hour stream on Red Dead 2, I have no want to go back and redo the story again anytime soon. My mind works in a way where I'll keep progressing and moving forward if I'm challenged by new things. So just playing the same game over and over again would become really boring for me, and you'd see me essentially drop off producing content and playing games because I'd be bored by that one thing. Saying that, I have played a lot of Call of Duty and Fortnite in the past and gone into those games, but it's a slightly different thing when it's a kind of online FPS, because you're getting challenged by different things every game. But even those, I dropped off on them in the end because I just found it either frustrating or boring, or just got sick of it. This is why I love story-driven games so much, because it's like watching a new film. It's like reading a new book every time. You're not getting stuck in the same old tropes. You're not going through the same process. You're not doing the same things. You're getting challenged by a whole new set of things, and you're getting to experience a story at the same time. So I will always be a person that finishes a game and then moves on. Spider-Man is the first game that I've ever 100%ed. Spider-Man 2. First game I ever platinumed, first game I've ever 100%ed, and that's probably going to be a rarity for me as a streamer, because I'm not a completionist by any stretch of the imagination. So I've got all of these different interests, and I wanna go down that route and follow them all and see where they lead. I just want to make great stuff. If I'm sitting here one day and I say I fancy writing a funny song, I want to be able to sit down at my computer and do that, and put that on my TikTok and see how it does. If I decide that I want to write a children's book and illustrate it, I want to be able to do that, and I want to be able to share that with my community too. If I want to do a painting one day, I want to be able to record that process and share that with my community. I don't want to ever be trapped in a single box. I want to just be able to follow where my creative line leads. I just want to be able to walk down those paths, and when I come to those crossroads, I want to be able to choose what direction I take. I also sometimes want to be able to turn back and go, I went down the wrong path and I didn't enjoy that and it wasn't fun, but at least I got to try it. I think that's the wonderful thing about content creation, right? Is that I don't have to be dedicated to any specific thing. But if there are any experts out there, content creation experts, Mr. Beast, I'm talking to you if you're out there. What are your thoughts on should I separate out those channels? I mean, you see Mr. Beast, he's got his main channel, he's got his gaming channel, he's got his philanthropy channel. He's got all Reacts channel. I'm doing all of that within single channels at the moment. I'm curious whether there's a strategic reason for separating those things out from an algorithm point of view, or whether it was done for other reasons. Because Mr. Beast's main channel is so focused on a specific type of video, whether he just wanted to keep that content separate from a creative control point of view as opposed to a strategic algorithm point of view. So that's it's just something that kind of sits in the back of my mind, is that I wanna be able to experience all those different creative outputs, but I don't necessarily want to have to split out channels and segment those things in that way. That may be something that I have to do over time. But I think, like I said, I think you should be able to explore and fiddle with and mess with all those different creative avenues. If you see on my channel that there's a bit of music coming out there, I hope you guys enjoy it as much as you do the gameplay content. If I'm painting a picture, I hope you guys enjoy that. And it's all stuff that I basically just want to give back to the community. Anyway, that's today's diary. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to find out more about me, you can hit me up on TikTok, Charm the Gamer. I'm obviously here on YouTube. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. And if you are enjoying the diaries and enjoying this video, please do hit that subscribe button. There'll be more content coming out. Lots of varieties of different content coming out. So I'd love to see you on the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment below, and I'll see you on the next one.